and I thought this is a really special IM. This is the one I will hype because I think it is worthy, and it's worthy enough for you to maybe sell most of your collection if you need to and buy this one. What my sound preferences are. I like bass. And if it can have quantity and quality, yeah, I'm rocking it. Especially mid bass. I like the slam over the sub bass rumble. I like my mids super clean. Not a big fan of overly colored, overly thick, overly warm mids. Not a big fan of that. And highs that are very sweet and seem to be able to keep up without ever being overbearing or in your face. So I want to say thank you to Aful for your trust in letting the Tone Deaf Monk do this review, and Hi-Fi Go for facilitating it for me. So as you know, I've done a few Aful reviews, and they could go either way. And I have never been so enamored by one of their IMs as I have by this one. This is truly standout. What could I don't want to sound like I'm shilling the shit out of this thing. What can I say bad about this set? And I couldn't come up with anything. I'll be honest with you.
Who's to say if I'm going the right way or where I'm supposed to be? I guess I'll fuck it up again. Kinda strange that I'm running in circles when no one is holding my leash. Yeah, I just make the same mistakes, and I don't wanna talk about it. I just wanna be 18 again. What's gonna bring you down when all you do is hang out with your friends? I just wanna feel 18 again. Why'd it have to change? Who's to blame when you're all out of chances and nothing is going your way? Let's just see how bad this gets. I'm 30 something now, and everybody seems to have their shit together while I'm just passed out drunk, and I can't even talk. I just wanna be 18 again. What's gonna weigh you down when all you do is hang out with your friends? I just wanna feel 18 again. Why'd it have to change? so fuck it up. I just wanna be 18 again. What's gonna weigh you down when all you do is hang out with your friends? I just wanna feel 18 again. But it have to change. But it have to
Hello, and thank you for watching my video first and foremost. Now this is going to be for the Aful Cantor. At full. That's what that means, actually. Perfection, the pursuit of excellence. It's been a lot of build-up, a lot of anticipation for this release ever since it was announced and teased, and a couple people have heard it at shows. It is worthy, and let's talk about Aful's flagship, 14 BA per side, $799. That's a good chunk of change, absolutely. Let's talk about it for a second before I jump into sound, because I really just want to talk about the sound, but I don't do unboxings. I don't need the hits. But I'm going to show you a little bit because I think it adds to the experience, right? So it comes in this nice box, specs on the back. It's all very themed. Even the inner box says Aful. You open it up. Again, little nice touches. Worthy of a flagship IEM. The case is absolutely baller. Here again, I have misplaced that case. I'll go get it for you. Inside of that case is 3 sets of different kinds of ear tips, and we are going to have a bit of a conversation about that as well. There is the warranty card, which is certified and stamped on the date of manufacture, and an about. Let's go get that case and show you what this thing comes with. Okay, I'm going to get a little silly about the case. Whoa, it actually comes with a really nice strap. Attention to details. If you're going to do flagship, do it all the way. No half-ass measures. Even the little cable holder is branded. Case is gorgeous, great size. Now this is not maybe so much a pocketable size, but when you put a big ass baller cable on it, like the one that comes included, it actually fits without a fight, right? Little pocket, you can put your dongle DAC in it as well. Cleaning tool. I mean, they did everything right. Let's talk about that cable. I like blingy, right? I do. I'll admit it. And I appreciate when somebody goes and puts the effort into something. So, and again, here I'm finding I chose the 4.4 version. It says Aful. This cable is a 4-core nylon braided cable with silver accents, nice chin slider. Even the splitter says Aful on it. The ends are one of the nicest. Again, shiny metal. And each one says left and right. There's a vent on the back. And I'm going to talk about that as well. So if you're not getting what I'm saying here, as a flagship IEM, Aful did it correctly. Well branded, you're getting what you would expect in an $800 IEM. In fact, it probably shames a lot of really high-end. I've tested a lot of high-end IEMs, and what you get is kind of meh. They did it right. So good job, Aful. And I want to say thank you for your trust in me, because any of my reviews, as you know, could go one way or the other. So, and I thank them for trusting me with doing an honest review here. I am going to hype this up a little bit because it's deserving, for sure. And let's talk about why this thing, first of all, is $800, because I think you need some context to understand. And doing reviews is not just about getting gear, sticking it in your ears, doing some burden, doing some tip rolling, and it's more than that. For me, it's research. If I don't know the company, then I'm going to actually dig a bit more into them and find out who they are, and learn a little bit more about that company. Now, since I've done that in the past, I've reviewed a couple of their IMs already. I didn't need to do that. And they're not a new company. They've been around a while now, and their shtick is innovative technology. And I think that plays a big part in why this thing took as long as it did to come out. And I think they wanted it to come out bang on. And I think Aful did that. Let's go into some fun stuff. Dual, and I'll help navigate this. I spent almost 30 years in the audio industry. So for me, when I hear this, I kind of translate it. What does that actually mean? How is it going to enhance my life? And I'll try to put it back to something that everyone can understand. Dual channel acoustic maze technology for deep elastic bass. Now they're talking about, and I'll pull up a little infographic here as we go along, and they're talking about their 3D printed maze technology. It's like they were one of the first to do this. Others have copied, but they keep getting better and better at this. And here is an example of that. And I'll just say one thing. I just came off of a dynamic driver BA hybrid, where the dynamic driver in the low master of the Oravetti was doing the bass. I think the bass in this IM sounds exactly like that dynamic driver, only bigger, better, and more. So two sets of advanced composite drivers. These are the BAs responsible for doing 10 hertz to 100 hertz. And this is something that's different. There's two different sound tubes, mazes for different bass textures. So yes, they're using the same BAs, but the BAs are tuned to do something different in the frequency response. With Aful's acoustic maze technology, they're not using a electronic crossover to filter out the mid bass and the highs, or filter out the mids and the highs. They're using this acoustic maze technology. And it really, really works. Next one up. Non-destructive direct drive topology technology. You say that 5 times real fast. I couldn't even say it once. Sound is not mixed in the nozzle or ear tips to cancel out sound waves. That's my translation into what that actually does and mean. So I worked for a speaker manufacturer and some high-end stuff. And what we were doing in our speakers and our crossover networks is we were using time alignment. And you can do ways through physical driver placement, and then you can also do it using a crossover as well. Well, if you do it doing driver placement, and you do it in a way that you don't have any deconstructive sound waves. Or imagine two woofers firing, and this is my big problem with fake isobaric drivers, is when the two are firing together, there's deconstructive sound waves that cancel each other out. Same thing could happen to the bass and the mids and the treble. And typically, bass likes to cancel out the higher frequencies. So, and that's why you see in really high-end home speakers how they're kind of shaped and they're angled to not get that side waves, the sound waves coming off of the speaker, deconstructing interference-wise with the rest of the drivers. And it makes a really cohesive sounding speaker. And absolutely happened in the Cantor as well. Because the sound is not mixed all together and has a chance to kill certain frequencies in the nozzle, and that'll play a part into also, I'm going to show you another picture of why the Cantor looks the way it is and does what it does. Now, actually, let's go there. Let's talk about this nozzle, because some people have pointed out, it's like, whoa, that's a long one. Yes, it is. But if you were to put a regular ear tip on it the conventional way, you would just be sticking the ear tip on just the end. And that's not how you do it. So they already know that all of the sound is coming out the end together cohesively out of the end of the nozzle itself, and that length they've specifically tuned. If you look inside, there is three different size holes for the different frequencies. And again, you've never seen that before. I've never seen that before in an IEM. So they know that they want all the sound to come out at the end of that nozzle. If you were to put this nozzle just on the tip like you would normally, you're going to change and I did it first. I was getting some shouty vocals, and as I was doing my research, I saw the slide and where the information of how to put the ear tip on correctly. And they do suggest using the stock ear tips, but they're pretty good. These semi-translucent ones with the blue, lighter blue inside are actually quite good, but they don't get the perfect seal for me. So I was racking my brain. So you'll see mine with some pen-on lacquer ear tips. I love these tips. They're sticky. And I shot a little video, and I'll interject that into here as well about this nozzle, because it's pretty important and special, and you have to do it correctly. And if you do it correctly, you will get a fantastic result. If you don't do it correctly, you're going to muck up the entire presentation. And also, the reason I did my mod as well, it was more part of it to do with comfort. With the metal sticking out at the end, I found after about an hour or so with the stock ear tips, it was hurting a little bit. So I thought, well, I want a bigger ear tip with more cushioning and a better seal. And so then I came up with this. I'm just fooling around with the Aful Cantor with the longer nozzles and how they're telling you to use the stock ear tips and shove it in all the way. And I came up with a little thing, because I had one of these little, do you guys remember these little teeny black kind of expanders that came with Final Audio ear tips? Let me show you this little hack that I just tried so that you can use any ear tip. Okay, so here's the Cantor nozzle. And what I do is I take this little Final Audio E-tip. Now, forgive me because I have massive sausage fingers and these things don't work well. So shove it in hard, as far as you can go. And then I just take an X-Acto knife and I basically cut that lip off, the bulbous part. And it seems to be exactly where the top of the nozzle is. It's a metal nozzle, so you don't really have to worry about damaging anything. There we go. Makes a fairly clean cut, but in order to make it a little cleaner, I pull it back off. And then I stick it around the other side. Anyway, I'll fool around with that, but when you're done, it looks like that. So everything is very flush. I'm not sure why that design is the way it is, but then you can take your ear tip, and in this case I'm using a pen-on lacquer ear tip because man, oh man, do you get a good seal with that. And voila. Still what they're asking, which it would be the metal nozzle to be at the end of the ear tip, but now the ear tip isn't collapsing in on itself at the tip. Works like a hot damn. So another option for you. Now that we've figured out how to put ear tips on correctly and get a fantastic seal, now we're cooking with sound. Let's talk about this topology technology. What it does for me, there is some serious ass special sauce going on in the top end. I have never heard extension and treble like this buttery smooth. That much information, that incredibly smooth. The last time I heard something like that, this well done, was in the TSMR Tanzio Mirai Halo, which is multi-kilo buck, right? It's their flagship. This is fabulous. Next up, multi-dimensional frequency division architecture technology. Most people just call this a crossover. And it works in the Cantor to make all 14 of these BAs extremely cohesive. And this very, very smooth transitions between bass, all the way from the bass to the ultra highs. You can't hear how those 14 BAs are split up at all. That is very well done. And not that easy to do, I would say. Next one. High precision 3D printed acoustic tubes. Now they're talking, I will admit, the methods and the engineering that went into the Cantor must have been hugely time consuming, and the research and the development and the time and money that it takes to do that, to make this release unique, and all of their special stuff that they do to this IEM to make it sound and stand out to be different from its competitors. They're giving this a serious flagship level status, and it's deserved. And I want to hammer home this point. And again, we'll go back to that $799. That is certainly a big part of why the Cantor is priced the way it is, was all of the effort that went into this release has to cost something. And I think for 14 BAs and all of the things that they give you, I think it actually represents excellent value. I've reviewed many kilobuck IEMs, and I would say not too many of those that I would, in fact, I would say none of those, except for one coming up, that I would not want to buy for myself, that I needed to own, that I wanted to have as mine. And some of the borrowed gear that I've had the privilege of listening to, there wasn't any of those that I said, I have to own this. This needs to be in my life permanently. So I think the Cantor is one of those. Now, I could go on and on about how it sounds, and I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into what I experienced with some track impressions. Now, before that, I had a whole couple pages of notes for sources, and I realized something after listening to 5 or 6 different DAPs, and the Gishelli Labs J2 with the Sparkos SS2509 Pro Op amps, and running out to my topping A90D, I simply came to a realization that none of my DAPs, dongles, or other sources honestly come close to the neutrality of that set. The openness, the phenomenal stage, and then the complete transparency without coloration. And so I think I'm going back to that stack as my listening impressions without colorization, and then kind of give you some recs. And in this case, all of my sound impressions are done on that desktop stack. I will say that the Onyx Alpha little dongle was a phenomenal pairing at $109. That and the Cantor, for me, it took all of the specialness that the Cantor does and made it sound analog. I mean, that sounds like it's taking a step backwards, but to an old bastard like me, that's actually heaven. So, final, baby, final. MENTALIST, the Crystal Method. I have listened to virtually I won't say there's a lot of wacko doo-doo genres out there, but the main ones. Let's just go into some EDM here, right? And I'm listening. Part of me in the background has got all that research and the marketing speak about, and so you got to put that aside and go, okay, well, they're hyping this. Is the hype real? Bass. Bass has hit and slam. Excellent. Stereo separation was the first thing that I noticed on this too. And then the fantastic highs. The dynamic driver that doesn't exist in this, is the bass is done by the BAs, and it doesn't sound like a dynamic driver. It sounds more like a dynamic driver than a BA, but it also has that BA-ness to it, and that's that dual tuning of the bass. It's really, really well presented. Now for some classical. My Girl by the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra. Here I'm listening for dynamics. I want to hear if in orchestral music you should be able to pick up the quiet passages and you should pick up the louder passages, and the difference between those in the recording or the playback should should bring you excitement throughout the track and elicit emotion. And the Cantor certainly does that. So it's such a resolving set that you can pick up the nuances even at lower volumes, or when the track gets really quiet. That's microdynamics for me, not to be confused with resolution. Resolution is how well you can pick up somebody breathing into the mic, the tonality of the strings or the finger plucks, right? And to talk about that, in the way the Cantor replays this particular track, the layering and the depth of the instrumental was absolutely stand out. But the size and the scope of the stage that it presents is simply wonderful. The microdynamics make this song very engaging. Cashmere by Manson. This track has big bass. This Cantor has big bass. Instrumental sounds very clean, natural. This track, you would call this IEM neutral, balanced with a definitive bass boost. Love how the Cantor plays back this track. Bass is sustained and does not shy away from making its presence known. When the bass has sustained hits, the Cantor doesn't seem to run out of energy, and it just keeps going like an Energizer bunny. Pretty fantastic. And the way it layers the bass hits, it's playing the note, next hit comes over and it lets that one play as well along with it until that first note finishes, and then the next note. Layering is pretty excellent. Enter Sandman by Young Sun Na. If you're not familiar with this lady, she has an absolutely incredible voice. She's a very talented artist. Here, I'm listening for the guitar plucks and, of course, her vocal tonality, but the guitar plucks and the resolution is top-notch, top tier. For vocal tonality, she sounds exactly like I think she should sound like. So that is a notch to the Cantor's timbre and tonality of not just instruments, but vocals as well. Kiss Me and the acoustical version from Sixpence None the Richer. Great strings, again, clean in resolvings. The vocals done so nicely. And it's hard, very hard for a lot of sets. And I find V-shaped sets, harmonish sets, don't do this. And they don't present vocals for female and male equally as well. And the Cantor is one of these extremely rare IEMs that, in fact, do that. To talk about strings, too, after I did my sound impressions, it was just, I want to listen to the set and just kick back and enjoy. And when I turned my brain off, that's when the real magic for me on this set happened. And it happened more with that little Onyx dongle on this set. It just pulled me into the music, and it turned off my brain, and it was just 2 or 3 sessions I went through like that, and I thought, this is a really special IEM. This is the one I will hype because I think it is worthy, and it's worthy enough for you to maybe sell most of your collection if you need to and buy this one. One last track, Money for Nothing, Dire Straits, right? You got to bring excitement. It's one thing with the P8 and the Explorer for me was it just didn't bring that emotional connection, and the Cantor is different. In fact, it's extremely engaging and fun. And that's what I find, again, if you watched my previous video to this one, I was talking about the Lowmaster from Oravetti. I find it a lot of balanced sets don't do the fun factor. They don't include it because there's not enough transients to make it super exciting. And again, the Cantor would take and that was funny because I was thinking about this and I was like, okay, well, that's a $150 set and this is an $800 set. Is this thing 6 times better? And then I really gave that some mindful thought. And after listening to this some more, I thought, yeah, I think it is. Actually, it's that much higher, playing at a much higher level than the $150 set. Even though that set was fantastic, you got to keep in mind the pricing as well. It has to come into the equation for sure. And for $800, this thing is playing at least at that level. Back to Money for Nothing by Dire Straits here. This track, the way the Cantor plays it back, is very balanced, very musical, great stage again, beautiful vocals, and a big stage, and great dynamics. I'm a stage fiend. I like, but I like stage that enhances the music for me. It can't pull my attention away. It has to enhance my experience. It can't be just wild things going off left, right. It has to be done in a very articulate way. And the Cantor not only does that, it does it with a lot of finesse and layering. And it was truly one of the things that stood out for me on this IM. I want to talk about this track. This is D from Randy Rhoads' Outtakes. One of the best playbacks I've ever heard, by the way. Super clean and resolving. Here, you could pick out everything. And one of the things I had a good laugh at was him smoking and doing the inhale, right? And the exhale, you can hear it. But I also had a good chuckle, too, when you can hear him repositioning his ass on the seat. And I haven't heard that before. And when stuff like that happens, when you can hear it and you can bring it out from the music, and you get something new from a track you've listened to 1,000 times before, that's worthy of note. By the way, the strings sound fantastic. The harmonics, the plucks, and the realism that it came through. So here's my conclusion. I could go on and on about this IM. The Cantor does, in my opinion, absolutely nothing bad. I can't fault it a single thing. I was going to talk about the fitment and those longer nozzles, and then I figured that out, and I read the instructions, which is very unmanly. And once I did that, I was thinking, what could I don't want to sound like I'm shilling the shit out of this thing. What can I say bad about this set? And I couldn't come up with anything. I'll be honest with you. It plays the full frequency response extremely well. My personal bias, do I like a little bit more mid-bass? I do, and slam, but it had enough in there for me to be happy and not be wanting or leave me wanting. So for bass, I mean, yeah, they advertise it does some deep, organic, tactile bass. Actually, I just threw that organic word in there because that's how it sounds to me. Very natural and very layered and very textured. It is exceptional bass. And thank you for Aful for putting all of your creative talent and your engineering into that. It's making this one quite special. It's a standout IM for me. The mids are perfect. Nothing to say. Male vocals, female vocals, fine. Excellent, right? I mean, they sound like they're supposed to. Everyone, male, female, dogs, guitars, ass moving on seats, it all sounds pitch perfect. But here, for me, was probably my biggest takeaway. And that had to do with the highs. Now, I'm a bit treble sensitive, and sometimes in IMs, if they have a peak around 8K or 10K, or I get ringing and I can't stand it. So I'm super treble sensitive to certain areas. The Cantor has a ton of energy. Here's the graph, and you can see that on the paper it looks very, very balanced, but it actually doesn't sound like it graphs. If you get proper fitment, if you use proper ear tips, and you get the right insertion, for me, I got more bass than, and I'm okay with that, in the bottom end than that paper was showing. It's one of these classic examples that if you think you know how this thing is going to sound on paper and judge it by that, you would be wrong. Same as the top end. Like I said, it was super buttery smooth, but so extended and so much information, which is why the staging is absolutely beautiful piece of master artwork for me. And it was one of the nicest experiences in the top end. ESTs, bah, right? Who needs them? Exactly. So, and that's what I'm going to leave you with. Yeah, I think this IM was worthy of the anticipation. It was worthy of the hype. And if you were going to save up your money, $800 worth, and buy this set, I don't think this set would leave you wanting really for anything. It does everything extremely well. Now, not to the extreme, so this is not a mega bass set, and it's not a blast your ears off treble head set. It does what Aful is famous for, which is their neutral, balanced tunings, and they've honed the technology and they put it all into this one IM to bring you this fantastic release. So I sure appreciate getting yours on this one. Thank you.